going to post this later on YouTube.
Recording in progress.
Recording
Got
in
it.
progress. I want to get one that has a fun accent, like a little Irish accent or something.
The meeting, got it.
Woohoo!
We are live.
So are we live? Are we live? So this is the thing with
This is the ever question. Oh, I'm in it now. I always see it, but now I'm in it where it's like, is it live? Has it connected?
I'm just doing a little refresh. There we are. I'm going to hit play in the group and then I'm going to mute us. Perfect. There we are.
We are live. Oh.
Yeah. It's always like,
it's always very funny. The continue watching. Oh, wait, no, I want it on full screen. Oh, and I need to mute that. Otherwise I'm going to have some sort of, I won't be able to focus on you guys. I'm going to be focused on what I said 5 seconds ago.
Oh yeah, exactly. You definitely mute the Facebook Live. It's so funny. Like I find Facebook Live way more chill and relaxing, like way less, not that like live is stressful, but it feels so vulnerable and I feel so exposed. Like when I go on Instagram Live, even stories, and they're not live at all, I feel way more exposed. But here in the group, it's just so casual and relaxed.
Nice. I think it's a private group, right? So you're kind of more, you know, who's there, and it's pretty cool. I just in general, sometimes the lives, and I think I've only done one live and it's with you guys, which was pretty chill. Yeah. I've done a few Facebook lives, but I always forget because I usually don't have the Facebook there, but it's actually cool because then I can see people's questions.
Exactly. So welcome. You have a few people trickling in. Let us know if you're here with us, where you're tuning in from. We want to hear your voice and see your face. Also, if you want to come live with us and join the conversation, I'm hanging out with Elise here from Image Salon, and we're going to be talking about AI editing software. So I have a ton of questions. I'm sure you guys have questions, and we're actually going to see how it works. Like we're going to see it like live process, which is so cool. It blows my mind that this even exists and that it's just going to be developed upon. Oh, so that's one of my questions. I'm going to sprinkle that in there. So I have some like basic questions to ask you to start, ones that you and I have chatted about before, but let's just introduce you to the group. So let us know how long you've been with Image Salon and what do you do there?
Oh, I've been with Image Salon since 2015, which, wow, already 6 years ago. It wasn't even a year into the company becoming what it is. I started as an editor, working on wedding photography mainly, and then a little bit of family, and then I got promoted. And I am now in the sales manager position. I try to promote our services to really, I'm not a salesy person.
I was gonna say, you're really not. You're like, let's just hang out. Like, I'll show you some cool stuff and this is how we can help you.
I think that's the reason I got the position, because we're not trying to sell to people who don't need or want our services. What we want is to connect with photographers and give them their time back. That's what editing to us is about. Editing is so time consuming. And when you're, 21 and you started your photography business and you want to work, or you can work 60 hours a week, go for it. But at some point there, either you want to take on more work or you want to spend time away from the computer and not edit all night long.
You want to see your friends and family in real life, and not just they only know what you look like based on your social media.
Yeah. And then when you're actually there, you're still thinking about the photos that you have to edit, and it's just this wave crashing down. So that's kind of how it started. And at the time, we're seeing more and more other amazing outsourcing companies that are doing what we're doing, which is we don't want outsourcing to mean you have to compromise on your style. Back in 2014, that was mostly what we were seeing out there. It was, well, if you're sending us your images, this is what you get.
Yeah.
If that matches your style, great. But what if it's not at all what your work looks like? Then It's like, I want to shoot portrait, but all I'm stuck with is Kodak Gold. Kodak Gold looks great, but it's not my style.
Yep. Mhm.
Hi, friends. um, this is cool. I love that. I get to say hi to people who are there. But you know, that's me, and that's Image Salon, and that's why I'm still at Image Salon, is because of the values we have and how important the relationship with our clients are. Yeah.
Now tell me, okay, am I pronouncing this right? Is it Fado?
Phyto.
Fido. Okay, I said Fido. I'm like, no, it's probably Fado, like fade. Oh, but like some kind of editing, but no Fido. Okay,
Phyto.
Fido. So this is how you pronounce it, Fido. Tell us what it is, and tell me where the name came from.
Well, AI is in there, and
that's so funny. Can we blame
it's
it
like
on
photo?
like early morning brain and so funny.
Yeah. So photo, phyto. So yeah, that's it. You don't have to look
That
further
makes
than
sense.
that.
Yeah, this makes sense. I get it now. Yeah. I went way too deep. I'm like, it means something like transitional or editing something. And like now it's
Fading into the darkness.
Yeah.
No, it really is phyto AI. I also find, for me, the AI reminds me a little bit of when you have the Adobe
Yes.
letters, where you have a capital and sorry, I'm French. I'm like a minuscule.
Oh yeah, no, perfect. Yeah.
little letter. But really, it's to kind of differentiate the AI from the rest of the world, and the world. Yeah.
This is so, and then Kelsey says, haha, I do like I like actually said haha. She said, I just assumed it was an acronym, but Stace is hoping for something cooler.
Oh man,
now
I feel like we need to come up with an acronym. Stay tuned.
We'll have to think of something.
Leave
it with Pepper. We'll think of something for you. Brett! Oh my God, dude, how are you? Good morning. Okay, so if you're hanging around, you're gonna have to come live with us later on here or whenever you want. You're gonna have to chill with us. So I have some more like official questions I have to ask Elise before we let her show us the software. But if you're tuning in and you're here with us, we're talking about AI editing. We're talking about Fido, Image Salon's new software that does this really cool thing that we're gonna get shown. And if you have questions, you can put it in the comments or you can come on live with us. So I have just a couple more here. For someone that still is not outsourcing their editing, or maybe someone that's new in the industry, it's just like you said, like they're not at the beginning anymore. They don't want to work the 60 hours. They're thinking about it. Like, what do you tell them? What is like, even like one main thing, like you got to outsource your editing because X.
Because your time.
Because your time, exactly. Yeah.
Because your mental health, because work-life balance. And I had this conversation actually just last week. I don't think that anyone is ready to outsource. I think that first, before you start outsourcing, I do think it's important that you do take the time to start doing your own editing and exploring your style, finding, the classic, like find your voice, and exploring what works and what doesn't work for you. And when you're at the start of your business, it's normal. You're going to start by emulating people you admire. You're going to start by trying different things. And as you go along, that's not really for me. And that's not really for me. And, and maybe at the start, you're just like, before I started Image Salon, I'm like, I just need to get these images done. And 3 months after starting at Image Salon, I was looking back at old work and I was like, every one of these images has a different approach. I would not have been ready to outsource because I wouldn't have been able to guide my editor as to what I want.
That's a really good point.
So I think it's important to have that time to explore and to test things out and to, try different things. And then once you feel like, even if you're not 100% like, this is what you do, +5, -5, like we don't need that much like clarity or precision. But if you have a decent idea, it's a good thing to start setting up yourself with an outsourcing solution. And it doesn't mean you have to send everything out if that's not what you want. Some people use Image Salon, you know, in October to November when they've reached peak.
Oh yeah,
they're like, I can't handle this.
I'm sure I'll be done by November, and you're like panicking like a week before Christmas, getting out your last gallery. And
exactly, and it's not necessary.
Yeah, it's not necessary.
You know, and it's just good to get into that habit. And you know, we talked a bit about workflows before, and establishing your workflow, not only your editing workflow, where how you edit each image, but your whole business workflow from once you finish shooting the event to all of that. If you have that consistent workflow and you're like, okay, well, when I finish, I'm going to edit a few previews, and then I'll send it out to, I'll do the culling and I'll send it out to editing. And then that way, you know, you can shoot more events or, you know, spend time booking more clients, doing follow-ups with your clients, organizing your social media.
And you can price it into your packages. Like this is a great opportunity to increase your packaging, your packaging, your packages, your packaging, and like you can be making the same amount of money. So that when people say like, oh, I like need every dollar of my income, that's fair, but it doesn't. Maybe you just need to open up to the idea of like maybe your pricing just isn't accurate for where you're at in your business right now.
And that's an important conversation to have. And you know, one of the things with Phyto, and I think it's good for, especially for anyone who does in-person sales, you know, where they haven't made, you know, they've made their initial session fee and everything, but until they reach the next point, they don't want to invest that much into, you know, maybe 50 or 75 cents per image is too much. That's where I think Phyto can be a really great tool. Because if you're just trying to do a proof gallery, Phyto is great because it is near instantaneous and it's 15 cents per image. So it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I'm already getting into why Phyto.
I'm actually, before we even get into that, I think it's incredible that an outsourced editing company, that you are the ones that have created the software. Because how many outsourced editing companies are going to be maybe like, you know, a little bit hesitant for this to come into the industry, to be a common thing in the industry. You know, we're like, what's going to happen to our job or our company? But you created a software that from the outside could be perceived as direct competition to you. So explain to me the behind the scenes of that whole conversation.
I had that same reaction when we first heard it, you know, like secret meeting, where we started talking about this project. I was like, oh, but won't our clients switch over and everything? And I think the reality is that this answers a different need. It's not necessarily the same people who want, you know, the more white glove, more high touch service that we offer. This is people where it'll help them in their own workflow, where they still want, they're really holding on to that, the creative control that editing provides them, or maybe they do really enjoy editing like I do. But they want that extra step. So, you know, some people, this is their entire workflow. They send it to Phyto and, you know, maybe minor tweaks here and there, but other people use it as a base, as a starting point where it gets them that much closer. And then they'll do, you know, and I'll show you, I'll guide you guys around the website a little bit after, but where you can see how can I say this? You can translate the basic classic look to your own style. You know, you can make relative adjustments so that, okay, well, I know I need a different contrast tone curve and I want to put in some color grading, but other than that, that's it, you know, and dodging and burning and cropping. And
I'd be like, add grain.
Yeah.
So funny.
I mean, that's it. Like I knew it was coming, but even when it came and I tried it myself, I was just like, what?
Wow.
It's just like, I had this, I have a new, well, she's now 1 year old, but I'm like a new niece. And I'd taken pictures just like that. And as with probably many photographers, your family photos just end up on some hard drive unprocessed. Or maybe I'm alone. I don't know.
No, definitely. It's really, my partner's like, where are those photos? Do we still have them? Like, I think they're somewhere. Hopefully
That's
they're
the whole
not,
thing.
hopefully they're uploaded first of all. Hopefully they're not just hanging out on like my play camera card somewhere.
I'm sure they're somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're somewhere, but for me, they were somewhere I was like, oh yeah, I edited one of them and shared them, and all these other ones. And I wasn't sure how I felt about it, and that's the magic of editing and outsourcing, is sometimes if you're not sure about a session, you send it away and you get it back. You're like, oh, I am a good photographer.
I was going to ask. So like even someone that's new or newer in the industry and they haven't nailed down their style, it might actually even be beneficial to talk to someone on your team. And like, this is kind of like what I'm leaning towards, but I just can't seem to nail down what I like, to talk to a professional that can look at your work, look at you, like your website, your overall branding, like, you know what, maybe you should try this or tweak this and see what they think. That might be an excellent opportunity to have help in finding your editing style.
Yeah. And mentorship isn't currently something that we're offering, but it's something I've seen so many people benefit from. Just having that external perspective, you're so close to your work, and just even a portfolio review. It's hard at first, to get someone to come in and critique your work, but how else are you supposed to learn? So
it's true.
I think we've talked before about the Find My Style sessions, and that's something, we're not currently offering. We don't offer them in busy season, but that's sort of what you were talking about, that we do. It's a session, it's a one-on-one session, where we look at, I talked about emulating people you admire. So we kind of look at the people you admire, and I'll talk about the whole process, because I think even solo, that's something you can do if you're struggling with finding your style. So the first thing I say, open up tabs of everyone you admire, their website or their Instagram, whichever is updated. I know it's a reality for a lot of us that sometimes our website is not reflective of our style. But you just kind of go through and you say, okay, well, what is it about their work that I like? Is it visual? Is it the way they're dealing with their client, the way they're connecting with their client? In which case, well, maybe it's not the style of shooting and editing. Maybe it's the style of posing. Maybe it's something I need to introduce into my own sessions. Maybe that's something I need to pay more attention to. Maybe my location
composition, like, is it more details and up close? Are you wide angle?
Exactly.
Even what type of sessions is this person shooting? And maybe you're shooting some like small, like country ones with the wood, centerpieces still, like the slabs with burlap and everything, and which is totally cool. Or you really want to be shooting like chateaus or adventure element or whatever it is.
It's good. And I think it's good to do that once a year, honestly, at least. Same time you're making your New Year's resolutions, you take a look back at your last professional career year and what worked, what didn't work, who are the clients I liked working with, and how can I book more of them? Where did they find me? And, all of those things are, like investing in your CRM is really big.
Huge game changer also.
And it's something I never thought about before, working in the industry. And I was like, wait, you mean I don't have to say yes to all clients who knock on my door? And yes, when you're not fully booked and when you're maybe struggling to make ends meet, it can be hard to say no to a client. But I would still encourage you to see, is it worth, like, if this looks like someone who's really not connected to my style and my approach, will it cause me more headaches than that paycheck is worth?
And you will get to know it. You will get to know this is a thing. What I think is amazing about this conversation already is that it's very clear that, like, you and Image Salon, like, you truly care about the photographer and what they need. And I think it's so smart to look at the industry, to look at the needs and say, like, this is a need, like AI editing. It's going to be a thing. It is a need. you know that it is, and then how
Mhm.
can you provide the best service for your photographers and for your clients. We like calling them our creatives versus clients. It's just like feels like
I
way more
love it.
personal.
Yeah.
But it's a really smart place to be in, because it just shows that you're not just protecting your job, like work,
Mhm.
you're improving and innovating in the industry and
Yeah.
providing even better service.
There's so many reasons this service was important. Some people, yes, we talked about raising your prices, but maybe you're not in a position to that. Maybe you have a bit of an imposter syndrome and you're not ready. And I'm like, raise your prices. But those are all reasons. Having this service that we still fed so many images to get it to be as accurate as possible, and also to treat photos a certain way, like if you have a silhouette or things like that, like to take that into consideration is something that, AI is still a technology I'm not 100% sure I understand. I'm like, Sal, how? I'm like,
It's just that
oh,
we're just at the beginning. We're just the
it's
beginning of all that.
amazing.
And people will always want, like, I would be interested in AI editing to a certain point. And
Mhm.
then I'm definitely one of those people. I'm like, okay, now I want like a real person on maybe like my noir stories or something. Like I need like
Mhm.
a real human to
Yeah.
like take
Well,
this.
the more
Maybe.
subjective, more,
Yes.
creative, more detailed work, that's definitely I mean, I think the important thing about AI is that there are humans involved where you're teaching, deep machine learning. I'm not an engineer yet.
Yeah, like you will be after this.
But there is some learning, and it keeps learning, and it's so impressive what can happen. I just couldn't believe it when I saw it. But even in terms of, we have clients who, for various reasons, they can't share their work, whether it's boudoir or whether it's for religious reasons or all of that, So having this where the human element is removed, and, like there are no
Mm,
other human eyes that will see this,
smart.
it's just, it's really huge, because otherwise that person is like, well, I can't outsource. I have to do it myself because I cannot share these pictures. So if you have an NDA, you have
Interesting.
all of these things. This is just that there's a machine, it goes, it comes back, it doesn't stay external, it really remains
Wow.
entirely yours. It's not like, even if someone has an issue with their results, I can't go, I have a back end, thing, I cannot go and get those pictures. They would have to share them with me so that I can see what happened. Is this something where we need to get the machine to learn something new? So all of that. So it really is, in terms of privacy, it's a huge advantage.
That's insane. I didn't even think of that at all. That's massive. So,
Mhm.
friends, she's a boudoir photographer, and that completely makes sense. That totally
Yeah,
makes sense. It's like yeah.
it's, there's maybe no solution, and I mean, now we have a lot of people working from home, so it's a bit, there's more privacy there. But before, when everyone was working in this giant office, we couldn't guarantee that to boudoir photographers that no one was going to see their images, because we were all in this giant loft space. We would have a few people who were working from home already, so sometimes we would try to pair them with those people or with someone who's back against the wall and things like that. But this eliminates that need.
And so fast. I want to get into that. So I just want to look here. So Fran says she loves editing too, but I need to pick up the pace a bit. And that is actually one of my first points that I wanted to circle back to you on. I don't show too many photos at the reveal. 30 to 40 tops. Is Fado good for small batches?
Absolutely. And what's great, friends, is that and I don't know if I don't think we've touched on that yet, but the first 500 photos are free
Yeah,
to
free.
try. You
And you
don't
don't
have
have to
to
put
put
your
a
credit
credit
card in or
card,
anything.
nothing.
Like
So
no risk.
let's say 50, because my math skills this morning not there yet. But if you submit batches of 50, you could do 10 times 50. It doesn't have to be a singular 500 image order, or like, oh, like I placed my 20-foot photo order, there goes my free trial. It's really up to 500. You could submit 500 one photo order, although I mean, that would be just the the transferring of the file. So I'm like, oh, I'm not sure about that. But yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter the size. it is AI. They don't care if they're treating 400 photos or 40 or 2 pictures. It's seeing, that's what blows my mind. I'm like, huh, they're like just seeing the numbers, the zeros, and it's the matrix, you know.
Oh my God. I booked some shoots for myself in October because I shouldn't, because I'm so pregnant. But I did, because I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no. I was like, I just got all these creative juices flowing. I'm like, I just want to make something before this baby comes, like
Yeah.
do something with photography. And this is even making me, I'm like, maybe I should take a couple more, because I could just over to Fido.
I mean,
Fido.
the Fido's there to help you, but at the same time, I'm like, I think that's a different conversation.
I know.
Right there, about setting boundaries and setting yourself up for success. Maybe we need to have a mentoring session.
They want to.
But I know that feeling that needs. I'm actually shooting a wedding in October, and I will definitely be using Phyto.
Oh, hell yes. Okay, so I still have like other questions, but I think I really need to see this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off my screen, and then we can just focus on your screen and the process, and just like guide us around, and I'll be here hanging out, and I'll be in the chat with the crew here in the group.
There's one thing I wanted to touch on before we do that.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about the pros. I do want to talk about turnaround times.
Yes.
Because this is instantaneous. But I just got married, as maybe some of you who saw on Instagram. And I think, you know, I signed my contract. I have a 12-week turnaround time, which I'm more than happy, especially knowing how the industry is going right now. It's like a wild year for all wedding photographers.
You know, yeah, it's yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, take 6 months if you need.
Yep.
Because I think that with AI, it's important that we don't drive further into that instantaneous turnaround time. I think it's still important that there be a delay between the event. Obviously, if we're talking about reveals for boudoir, it's not the same thing, but I'm specifically about wedding photography. And I had this conversation with, I think it was a friend and photographer, Catherine Hillcove, about the emotional attachment you create to those memories before you get the pictures, and how after that, when you receive your pictures, you already have that happy memory attached to each moment, and therefore you're even more receptive and happier to, you know, that transference happens with the photos. Obviously the photos are for sure amazing and everything, but it's so good to be able to, you know, harness that psychological, you know, let people create attachment to the memory, and then see the pictures. And that's my bit.
Really,
that's my bit on turnaround times.
This is like, yeah, I think that's important, because with Fido, like, it is shit fast.
Yeah.
But okay, so with that in mind, which is actually a really powerful statement to have made, a solid point, how long would you say how long should you wait? Like 2 weeks minimum?
Oh man, I don't know. That depends on each person's personal preferences. I think if your images are done editing, you know, that's great. You know, it's done. It's done on your checklist. If you then want to send them 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, you do that. I don't think it means that you have to take that whole time to edit them, because there's something so satisfying about checking something off the to-do list and knowing, okay, well, now my images are ready. Maybe I'll review them a week before sending them. And you've had all that time to take a step back from it.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I'm happy with my 12 weeks, 8 weeks. These are all turnaround times I've seen with highly successful wedding photographers. And I've even seen longer turnaround times. So I don't think there's a singular like answer, but I think we're generally as a society moving towards this instant gratification. And my fear for wedding photography would be like, oh, well, I just lived this, so I'm just going to swipe through all of these photos like we're scrolling on Instagram. I think it's something that we need to talk more about in the industry, and just, you know, it's okay to wait longer. And it's when you do your intake and you educate your client as to, the reasons why you want to do that and how more powerful it's going to be. And also just the time it takes to not just process the images, but take some time away from it. Now, maybe that'll be the reality, is like, take some time away from it so you can come back with refreshed eyes and see, are there adjustments I want to do? And
there usually are. Like if I edit half a wedding one week and the next week I edit the second half, all of a sudden, depending on my mood, it could be slightly brighter than it was when I was editing last week because I was more tired or something. Like it can definitely, my mood, my energy level sometimes can not like massively affect my editing, but can. So I think that it is nice to take a second glance. So I was thinking two things when you said about waiting also. Is if someone paid you a lot of money to shoot this wedding and you turned it around super quick, they're like, whoa. What? Like that cost me so much money. You got it back to me in 2 days. Like that's like, I think they would feel like lack of value in that. And then my other thought was, now you have the opportunity to tweak your workflow and add in something extra special for the delivery of the gallery that you wouldn't have had time before. Because if you tell your clients, oh, I'll give it to you in 8 weeks. And like 8 weeks, the photos are done. You're like, I gotta get this out on time. Just send an email, and off it goes. But if you had done editing done early and you're ahead of schedule, now you could do something like you include a print, you put it in the like nice box, or something really, and a handwritten card. Here's a link to your gallery. Like you could pre-plan this whole like physical delivery of your gallery. So then they go to the link and then they open it up and they see it versus just an email, which we all get every day.
Yeah. Well, and I'm actually, that's one thing, I talked about the 12 weeks, but at the 4 or 5 week mark, I'll be getting 24 prints, and there's something really, it's not digital, it's not this, it's like a physical thing. Yes. I can, there's so much nostalgia too in like flipping through like physical pictures. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important and it all comes down to educating your client. If you can do it in 2 days, maybe that's why it was so expensive, is because you have that huge time that you put into your workflow and everything. And that's why you're super efficient. So I think maybe that's the salesperson in me that's like, oh, it's all about how you put it.
This is like, how do I take my approach, or how do I educate my clients? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. So that just goes to show there's no like one right way to do it.
No.
Yeah. What's your way? Get it your own way.
Yeah. I and myself, I don't have a way. I very rarely shoot weddings anymore. I took a step away, and there's just, again, I can't say no. There's some people I'm just like, yes, I will shoot your wedding.
You just gotta. Sometimes you're like, this would fulfill me way too much.
Yeah.
So I need to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, girl, show us the goods. I need that. I'm on the edge of my seat. I want to see all the goods. Show us how it works. What does it look like?
I want to start by just doing a little tour. I mean, obviously you can do a tour of the website on your own time, but I do want to take you guys through a little bit. We kept it as simple as possible. Am I sharing my screen? Yes.
Yep, you are good.
Okay, wait, I just have to look to the other screen to see that I am indeed sharing my screen.
It looks perfecto.
Okay, I'm gonna remove that little, so I don't see myself twice. Okay, so we kept it as simple as possible so that you don't have to like scroll a million places and everything. So it is a very, very simple platform. It doesn't have to be any more complicated. What's really great, and what I really encourage people to do, is look at the sample page. We have either the 4 looks comparison. So we offer 4 different styles. They're, based on our in-house looks that we've developed over the years. So we have a very classic, neutral light contrast, very basic look. Then we have a slightly more film, bright, airy approach. Then there's a moodier style. And then finally the punchy. That's my personal favorite. But of course, like we said, there's no one way of doing things. And that's why we wanted to offer all 4 styles. And I won't browse through these necessarily with you guys. I think it's more fun to do on your own time. But more than that, we have entire galleries so that you can see a full event, by all of these different photographers, different styles. Also, we have some senior photography. We have even Davina and Daniel for personal. I haven't seen these yet. I am going to click through it. So we have entire galleries. So, you could even use it for your personal photography, your family photos, which instead of having them stay on a hard drive, so this is the classic look, and we can see all of these images. And, maybe after you get these, you're like, well, in my personal images, I want a stronger contrast curve. I want the blues to be more punchy. And those are all very, very simple changes to implement. So you can see all of the, yeah. Oh man, love this family. They just moved to Costa Rica this last weekend. So really exciting stuff. Hey, that's me just browsing. I get lost in other people's galleries, so I will try to not stay distracted. What I wanted to show you as well, Phyto is an app, and it looks like this. So you can see, hello Elise, that's me. Build 15 cents per image. I've already passed my 500 test images, and I wanted to show you right away. I have an order right here, a nice little gallery that has really varied images. So you have a good idea of, we have 32 images, almost all from different events, but also from different time of days, different lighting situations, and all of that. So we have a good amount of images present. They're all unedited. I will now close my Lightroom. Yes. When you're uploading, you should have your Lightroom closed, but anyways, AI Phyto will tell you if there's something that is needed. So let me just, okay, I forgot where this lives on my computer. So I just need to, there you go. Okay, August. Everything's very well organized, but I had this catalog in there. It's already been almost 2 months. So very easy, place an order. And then I'm going to go, you can either go recent, which would have saved me the hassle of finding my catalog, but you can also browse. Or you can even, I hadn't used that function yet. You can drag and drop it. Magical. And we will call it Pepper. And this is where you choose the look. If you forgot, if you're still unsure, you can also just view samples of each look. And it will bring you back to that little video that I didn't show you, but it will show you all the different styles and take you through the different styles. We have a lot of little videos in the help desk that take you through either what the service is about, how to upload your photos, how to download your photos, and all of that fun stuff. So let's go back to the app. I will choose classic. And you can, this is straightening. You can add it for 1 cent per image. And you can even filter. So if you've pre-edited, so if you already created some samples, pre-edits, little sneak peeks for your clients, you might not want to have those edited, because it's important to note, if you send it for editing, it will be overwritten and you cannot go back. So that's really important to note. So, let's say my samples are always labeled green. Well, I just have to uncheck the green and it won't be edited. So I'll just bring it back. And then I will, let me just, yeah. So then you select the folders, because this will tell Phyto where your raw files are so that they can access them, see the zeros and ones, and then bring it back. You can see here we have a grayed out JPEG. That is some exciting future development. So stay tuned. And okay, choose. Easy peasy, just making sure. Yep. And send. And you can see it is sending. You can see at the bottom here, DNG converter. That's because it's making a temporary version, very temporary, to send the zeros and ones, and then they disappear. It very fast, as you can see. This is all the images that are converting. And then see, it's pretty fast. Obviously, if you have 100 photos, this is the longest part. So, you know, you can, but still, wow, so fast. Yes. I'm like, this is the longest part, but it's still pretty darn fast. So, okay. And now I wait. Now I can go make myself a cup of coffee. I can call my mom. My mom actually was getting knee surgery this morning, and she should be out really soon. So I could, as I'm waiting for my images, I could call my mom, check in on her, see how she's doing. She's probably a little bit still knocked out, so maybe I don't talk to her just yet. But yeah, that's the amazing thing. It takes roughly 1 second per image, and we'll see. I'll be getting an email really shortly. Sometimes actually, I'm even faster if my email service is slower. So sometimes I just go through here. Okay, it's not ready yet. Even see, we're talking about instantaneous. Sometimes I'm even a little too in a hurry, even impatient when it takes minutes. But yeah, so as we go through this, I can actually take you through our home and just show you through so you have the looks, you have a few testimonials, and then you have our FAQ. So these are really the most common questions, but it's also great to look at the entire knowledge base, because there's so many things, you know, we can have, making quick adjustments, applying your own style. Specifically, if you have develop, and we're actually continuously adding more and more tutorials for more and more packs or preset types that are out there. So that's something to, oh, there you go. There's my email. Actually, I missed it by a minute. So sorry, I'll finish my thought. I just emails, it's ready, can't wait. So you can see so many little articles, and I don't know about you, I love when I have a question that I can just go and browse and feel like a hero when I've answered my question. So this is pretty fun. And it'll, you know, can I pre-crop my images? The answer is unfortunately no. So it's better to crop after. And also when your images are edited, sometimes it might make you want to crop differently. Cropping, if you've ever heard me talk, is that one thing that I never do in the same order. It's the only thing that's inconsistent about my workflow. But let me take you back to, all right. So you can actually see here, this is the order ready. Order Pepper is now ready, you know, and it'll just bring you down through the very easy peasy steps. So if I do this, download edited images, Pepper. You can see here, there's a check mark, already downloaded orders. Maybe you're working on a different computer this time. You can uncheck that and it'll give you access to previously downloaded orders. And that's pretty good to know. Select all and then start download, and you'll see it's done. It's already there. So I'm going to reopen my Lightroom. And we can see it's going to start populating the edits. Ooh, Vital. I will send that to, I think perfect. So you can see it happening already. It's happening. I love seeing this part. I just love seeing all the edits appear and, you know, the magic And this is where maybe, you're like, okay, well, this is really close. Maybe I want it a little bit warmer. So, you can select all of your images and just do a little click to the left with the warmth, maybe a little more. Maybe I like to have a little stronger of a tone curve, right? So I can hit sync and I can change my tone curve and all of that. And it batch applies to all of my images. And now I have my more punchy edit. But even that, you can really quickly see how fast the service works. It's pretty awesome. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Sometimes, like I said, 90% accuracy. Maybe there's certain times, certain lighting situations like, okay, like I like this, but let's go a little more with the original, really warm image and make some slight adjustments. But yeah, right. That took all of probably 10 minutes and I was talking most of the time. And that's it. A little cropping. And maybe some dodging and burning, but you can really see how fast, how much this can speed up your workflow. Maybe I have little adjustments here and there. Maybe I want this just a touch darker. Same thing here. Maybe I want a little darker. Looks good. Looks great. Love, 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 love. Yeah. Just some, that's the magic of phyto. I really, and I mean, it's nice to see it with other people's images. It's even more fun seeing it with your own. And at 500 free images, you can try it out for so many different little events. Maybe you make mini catalogs of your 5 different weddings and you can try it. Or maybe you have a backlog and you want to work on it. And phyto is a great way of doing that. It's even, I even like the idea of using it for the sneak peeks. Maybe you don't have time to do sneak peeks. Maybe you actually want to edit the whole thing yourself, but you want to get those sneak peeks out really fast. Throw it to phyto. Tag them in. Ooh, yes. Stacey, if you have questions or want to join the convo, come on live.
There were like a couple times in there where I actually said out loud, like, no way.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
It is actually wild. I have like, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, what I like too is when I look at this, I'm like, all right, this one and this one and that one and this one, I was actually thinking I would make them black and white even when I shot the image. So again, I'm in auto sync. I might switch it to black and white. Maybe I have my own black and white preset. You can actually just apply it. But even just in this particular case with the classic preset, just clicking that black and white will give you really great results. And then you can just go see, maybe you want it a bit more contrasted, but it's so fast. You can just quickly convert all your images to black and white.
So if you use phyto first, and then you apply your black and white, just like the classic Lightroom, change to black and white, it does it on top of what phyto already has done.
Yeah. What you can do too, if that's, if you want, I know some people work with, I just realized don't do what I did. I mean, do what I did, but don't forget to uncheck the auto sync. That's
yes.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic mistake. What you can do, I know some people like to submit their galleries entirely in color and in black and white. What you can do is just select all of the phyto edits, right click, create virtual copies, and then convert those to black and white.
Yes.
It will keep the base settings and, you know, the relative adjustments. So I'm not, you know, we talked about getting tired. Phyto is an AI, it never gets tired. So whether it's the start of the day or the end of the day, it's like, this is what I do. So yeah, so then you can apply the black and white to all of those and not forget to uncheck auto sync.
So I have two of my own questions. One you like covered briefly, but I just want to expand on it a little bit more, make sure I understand. So I have, let's say I shot a wedding, there's 2,000, probably more like 4,000 photos plus in my Lightroom. Yeah. And I want to send it to Phyto. Either I select the ones I want Phyto to edit by either like flagging or marking green or something like that. And then I can do that. Or I would have to call out, like, let's say, because my workflow is I have all 4,000 images. I add to quick collection the ones that I want into each different, like getting ready. And then I'll do another quick collection for ceremony and XYZ. And then I have my folders of my final selected images. Would Phyto be able to read just those folders?
Yeah, it can, well, you know, that's an excellent question.
Or would I have to like, okay, so all of these I'm flagging?
Well, so you can actually, when, you know, when we select, here, let me just see this in order. So, okay, I have to put something in. Let me just, what's this Lightroom catalog? Okay, and let's do this one. Okay, yes. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. That's why I closed Lightroom. So just close it. Yes, I really want to quit. And try again. Okay. And then testing. And then classic. And then what'll happen is here you can, you know, either do the filters, but also if you know they're in a specific folder, or you can select collections. So in this case, I don't have any collections, but if you have collections, then you can select which collection you want to include. And it will tell you, so it will tell you, for example, okay, well, I have 16 images here. Like it's these 16 images I want to include. I don't want to include these, right? So it will confirm. So if you know how many images you're sending and it doesn't add up, then you know there's, you know, maybe something to look further into, and maybe it's the category is not right and things like that. We kept it simple, but we also included all of these different ways to like not sort, but select or unselect, because everyone has a different rating or it's sorting process. Yeah, exactly. And so we wanted to, you know, again, we didn't feel like you would have to change your entire workflow just to be able to use the AI. So, you know, I like to star my images. So, you know, if I was culling and in the end, you know, I have, you know, I rate 1 star, my first selection, and then I go back and I have my 3 stars. So I would only want to be sending my 3 stars. So, you know, I would probably unselect the other ones.
Smart.
And, yeah. And then I would only have my 3 stars, which right in this one, you can tell I didn't call this because there are no 3 stars. But yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. Or flagging is great.
Flagging. That's perfect. So I was like, do I have to like call out and actually like remove all the images?
No.
Like I saw like the stars, and then I'm like, I guess we'll just have to learn a new way, but you can do it by folders, which is how my brain works. Yeah, that's amazing. I missed that on the first round, so that's perfect. And then what about the people that have presets they're super attached to and they want to use their own presets with the software?
So we are really limited to the 4 looks, and that's why we have all of these tutorials. I would, if you have your own preset, I would suggest using the classic look. It is the most versatile look that you can make tweaks from, because it's a very clean edit. It's really just light bump to the contrast and very, you know, neutral white balance, nice exposure. And then, you know, you can there's a really great tutorial, actually. Unless I know what I'm going for, it's difficult to kind of change it, but
Fair.
there's a really great tutorial that I will show you exactly where it is. Applying your own style. I really recommend.
I saw these.
Yeah.
Here.
So this is really, it'll take you through the process, because obviously you don't want to just sync the entire preset onto everything, because it will undo certain adjustments that have been made. But you can really make great changes using really fast adjustments, apply, maybe it's just the tones, the HSLs that are different, and the camera calibration. So you can sync that across, and there you have your more tailored look. So
because a preset really is just sliders.
Yeah, I mean, it's the sliders, it's the tone curve and things like that. And maybe sometimes the classic is almost what you want, or even the moody is almost what you want. But the colors are a little different. So if that's the only difference, you are saving so much time.
Much time.
It gets you that much closer. Yeah.
I could really when I think of the software, I think of weddings, obviously, the family photos.
Yeah.
Really just and most families want a classic or clean look. And this would just be such a game. Actually, I was looking at this one, Tamaya's senior portraits, commercial photography.
Oh yeah.
Most
lifestyle
clients, right, want clean edits, realistic edits, not like brown or green.
And it's really,
amazing.
It's so great. It's almost, at 15 cents per photo, it's almost like, well, I don't need to cull it all that much more down. Like maybe I get them all edited and then I'll finalize my culling selection. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I included 2 of these. They're really similar. I'll just remove it. But at least at 15 cents per image, you're like, well, it's not a huge, it doesn't represent a huge loss, it's not like I spent $20 editing this image and I don't actually need it. So,
this is such a solid, we only have another 10 minutes or so, because I have a call at 1:15, which makes me really sad that I don't know how it's already been an hour. I actually don't know how, but this made me think of, this is a great solution for photographers that do the in-person sales, or do this virtually. And they're like, I don't want to show my unedited images, but I don't want to spend the time to edit all 100. So pop it through Fido, and now they get these gorgeous edited images that you spent literally 10 minutes on. And now when you do the selections with them, it already looks amazing. You don't have to be like, these are my unedited images. It's
no. And when you're rushing to do an in-person sales session, a lot of times I'm like, well, this is the time I had. I'm not really happy. It's not exactly representative of my style. It's not, with this, you can get a lot closer, a lot faster. So.
And what, I could see a huge number of photographers that have been trying all different presets and not feeling connected to any of them. Wow, look how beautiful this is. And I really, my job is to do the best I can in camera, capture emotions, have great composition, be creative, have amazing customer service. And my clients are going to be so stoked with these images.
Look at that velvet suit.
Oh, yes. I mean, I want that velvet suit. I would rock that velvet suit.
No, honestly, Phyto is here, let me just come back to you full screen. It's a game changer for so many people that, maybe they didn't feel the need to have a personal editor. Maybe they don't necessarily want to invest that much time. They still want to do it themselves, but they want help doing it. They're in that in between period, or maybe they're in a market in a country where, our price point, they can't justify that price increase because it puts them in a range that doesn't make sense in their economy. So at 15 cents, we're bringing that cost way down where it becomes almost universally, it makes sense. So, I've just spoken to so many people who have been able to gain back control on backlogs and their time, that they weren't necessarily able to or ready to invest higher budgets to outsourcing. And so it's, again, different profile, different people needs, different outsourcing needs, and I love it.
This is terrible. Like, I'm totally thinking, and let us know if you have any questions. We have Elise here for just a few more minutes. So if you have questions, pop them in the chat or come on live. The link is in the chat there for you. But this is like selfishly me going, I have hardly shot anything at all because I mean, Pepper's my main squeeze. But I'm like, maybe I can still have like my photography business side hustle because I have Fido to do a huge portrait for me.
That's why I don't feel stressed out about the fact that I have a wedding in October, because Image Salon is, you know, again, my main squeeze. I love it. I dedicate most of my time working to it. And then outside of that, I just want my personal life, enjoying my newlywed reality. I don't want to go home and edit hours on end. And so this is like, and it's weird if, you know, editing with, you know, outsourcing with my own coworkers. There's like because I'm a manager, I wouldn't want them to feel that kind of weird pressure. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to outsource, but I'm not going to send it to a competition.
So funny.
Yeah. Well, so Fido is like the perfect solution.
I appreciate so much your time and explaining everything to us and showing us how it works and how crazy simple it is. And I think it's insane that you're offering 500 free images. So we're going to post that shit everywhere. This recording will be on YouTube. We'll share it again in our newsletter. Of course, it'll live in our Facebook group for anyone that's curious about AI editing. And yeah, insane, massive game changer. You guys done it again. And it's just super exciting. And I'm so curious to see where this goes.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm really excited, and I can't wait for people to try it and, you know, see if it's a fit for them and how much time they save.
Just like literally just try it. 500 images, the zero risk. You can't say no. And like, this is the perfect time of year to give it a go.
Oh yeah.
You got nothing to lose, nothing, literally.
It's pretty fast too, just uploading, you know, and doing it. And I was like stressed because I didn't know where my files were and everything. And it took me no time at all anyway.
Like legit 10 minutes. Like actually. Like I was thinking, like maybe I'll have time to have a snack and like I have like a little plum cake in my lunchbox. Nope, no time for snacks.
It's pretty cool. I love that there's also an email that pops up. So I don't have to keep refreshing and like being like, did I miss it? Something, you know, I just, you know, go have coffee, wait for the email.
And go and check on your mama. All right, well, I'm going to stop the live stream, but don't go anywhere. Thank you everyone who tuned in. Absolutely love that you spent time with us today. We appreciate you. And we got some more cool shit coming your way.
Yes.
And stop recording.